Welcome back to the Energy Intelligence Forum. I'm joined this afternoon by Abhi Rajendran, Director of Research and Advisory at Energy Intelligence and Head of Oil Markets Research. Thank you for joining me, Abhi.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
So you just moderated a panel on the coronavirus-related oil price crash. What were your key takeaways from the panel, or the thing that struck you the most about the discussion?
Yeah, no, it was a fascinating panel. I mean, this is a topic that has been debated and has kind of spread throughout different panels and discussions over the last couple of days, which is a testament to how many people are really sort of thinking about this. Which is, when does peak demand? Is it in the past? Is it in the future? Has it been affected? Is it coming sooner than we previously thought? So these were some of the kind of the key questions we talked about. I think the main takeaway that I heard was that it's really hard to see a peak in demand coming before around 2030, and in some cases, some of the scenarios put out by BP and the IEA and other agencies, they've shown demand sort of declining through the 2020s. It's something that the panel just did not see. It's something that we don't see either. I think the second takeaway is that there are some segments of oil demand that are going to continue to be quite resilient over the next 5+ years. Gasoline, petrochemicals, these are areas that the panelists were still quite confident in, despite growing threats of electrification and EVs and things like that. The third takeaway was I think there was kind of a uniform concern around jet fuel. And airline travel. So that's something that we can expect to kind of linger for a while.
Okay, thank you. And just wanted to talk a bit about perceptions around peak oil demand and the idea that this is potentially being accelerated. What impact is this having on the industry?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is why it's been discussed the last couple of days. One of the panelists talked about just the sheer impact on the financing side of things, how banks, capital markets, investors are kind of looking at the oil industry or the energy industry more broadly with a completely different lens, and expecting more in terms of environmental work and more sort of self-regulating from the industry, as the energy transition takes shape. So I think that's kind of an important point. I think the second point is around the impact on the supply side. Just the perceptions around peak demand coming are really kind of affecting the ability of the industry to be able to invest on an ongoing basis to continue to provide supply. And we think at some point in the next couple of years, this could result in a supply crunch, even if demand doesn't come back very strongly, but just sort of recovers to where it was before. You may not have enough kind of investment, whether it's on the OPEC side or the non-OPEC side, to be able to serve that demand.
Thank you. And just to finish off, because you are moderating a second panel this afternoon at the forum on US shale, what things can we expect to hear or touch on this afternoon?
Yeah, and this is kind of a continuation of your last question, Alex, which is what is the outlook for shale? Having been an important part of non-OPEC supply growth and delivery to the market over the last several years, is the outlook for shale and U.S. oil supply more broadly kind of structurally changed, right? Has this crash kind of permanently altered it, over the next 5-10+ years? We think so, but would love to kind of hear what the panel thinks. And also this election, right? Huge election coming up in a month. What are the two different pathways that a Trump re-election versus a Biden presidency could mean for the shale patch? So certainly looking forward to digging into all of that.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining me, Abhi, and see you later on.
Thanks again for having me.
Thank you.